I know. It's okay.
I'm really struggling here.
It's okay. We're here for you.
Thank you.
We are your support network.
Thank you.
We're going to get through it.
Today's episode, tip or trend? Is it real advice or just nonsense?
Would a therapist approve, or did you just get it from social media?
Was this a meme that you're taking as clinical advice? Did a life coach tell you this? Was it a licensed clinician? Like, where did you get your info?
Let's verify. Let's get verified in the advice that you're getting.
Yeah, and then we'll say, is it actually good? Is it Therap-ish?
Yes, good word.
Or my favorite, I've said this a couple times this week, it's giving unethical.
Oh God.
Yeah, I have a couple people in therapy school.
Yeah.
And the stories I hear about either their job and or internship, I go, it's giving unethical.
Oh no.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a place that the interns, they charge clients to see interns?
Like a paid internship or?
No. Like you're going to a facility. You're doing an individual session with an intern.
Okay.
You paying for that? At my place, it was always a no charge consult. Like you did not pay a copay because you couldn't bill an insurance.
Oh, I don't know that I ever was given the opportunity to understand how the background of that worked. I just showed up at the place and did the hours they told me to do, and I have no idea whether they were billing for those. What kind of place did you work in though for your therapy school internship?
Well, I worked at two places. I worked at community mental health for kids, and then I worked at the place that I was employed, drug and alcohol. In my second year internship was there, and then I got hired there. And they always did it as they didn't charge you.
Okay, yeah. I don't really know. I worked in community mental health, like the same thing, and then I worked in a drug and alcohol facility.
Yeah.
And
But what do you think off the cuff? What do you think?
No, I
Yeah, I
because
think
you're
the
not
answer.
you're absolutely not licensed. You haven't
Right.
even
You should
finished.
not be being charged.
No, not at all.
And even if they were going into like a group, like an IOP or something, that was co-facilitated with a licensed clinician.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, scary.
Ooh, it's giving unethical.
Yeah, it's giving unethical.
Okay. All right. So what are some is it a tip or is it a trend? What do we got?
So rejection therapy, where you
I
are
haven't heard this one.
where you are just basically calling up strangers or places that you are fearful of calling in general, and then asking a question or asking for help or asking for a favor or asking for something to get yourself more adjusted to rejection and more adjusted to the uncomfortableness. So yes, this is a little bit of exposure therapy, which is a very valid tool to use, especially with anxiety disorders and phobias. However, on the therapy end, we're going to say
my rating is it's giving unethical.
It's giving unethical, yeah. So I don't necessarily support this kind of modality of treatment, let's say.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of emotional side effects, and you don't
know the triggers. You don't have anyone walking you through that.
You're not working through how to do it. Yeah. So yeah, if you're out there doing some rejection therapy, I would be cautious.
Okay. Film yourself crying.
Have you seen me cry?
I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Have you ever seen me cry?
I don't.
You've heard me cry. I don't think you've seen me cry.
Okay, maybe not.
No.
It is not a pretty. I am inherently not a crier. Like I'm inherently not a crier.
Oh.
Although menopause is changing that for me.
Okay.
Thank you again. Menopause now. I'm a big everything.
I'm a big time crier.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to reverse for you when you get to menopause.
I'm a big time crier.
Oh, it takes a lot to get me to cry. And again, therapy school kind of takes that out of you, and working in the field as long as you do, kind of, you don't want to make other people uncomfortable, so you don't cry, so you hold it all in. But when I do not think it's a pretty sight when I do.
So I'm going to give this rating Therap-ish. So I'll tell you why. I have a mirror in my office, and when people are practicing like positive, like affirmations or self-compassion in particular, I always say, look in the mirror when you're saying the mean, nasty stuff you say. Like make eye contact, because we often forget there's a living, breathing human being on the other side of that. I say Therap-ish because I don't think you need to film yourself, and you sure as shit do not need to post that video on social media.
Oh, is that a thing too?
I think so. Why else would you film yourself?
I don't know.
What are you doing? Watching it back?
I don't know.
For a rainy day?
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go. That's a
Yeah,
no
it's
for
the
me. But
yeah, I would say the looking at yourself in a mirror, especially when you're crying. I've done that before, and it was transformative in my self-compassion because you see this person that is just in the throes
hmm
of pain and hurt and struggle. And so I can still see her face, like when I did that, like, the mascara was running. It was like
yeah.
it was a time. And it makes it so much harder for me to be mean and nasty to her because I remember there's a living, breathing human being.
hmm
So the mirror part I'm into, filming, no,
Yeah.
posting, hard no.
No.
Hard
But
no.
if you think about it on social media, there's a lot of posting of people,
Oh yeah.
expressing their emotion, which sometimes is fine. Like they're talking about grief and things like that, which is just a natural reaction. But like
I don't
as
think
a therapeutic,
yeah.
kind of modal, I don't know, a tool. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ish. Okay.
Ish.
Okay. I have sleep maxing, which is just a term that is being used now, but really it just means sleep hygiene. It means getting the maximum amount that you can out of your sleep. And so, kind of doing things to introduce a better sleep habit and sleep hygiene, which is a word we use often in therapy. We talk about people's sleep hygiene all the time. Sleep hygiene means the same thing as if you would do like a face routine or if you have a morning routine that you go through. So, sleep hygiene is getting yourself ready for bed. What is the actions that you do to get your body and your brain to signal to the whole rest of the body that we are actually going to get ready to go to sleep now. So it's a nighttime routine that you follow pretty consistently that has all these attempts to relax you, de-stimulate you, calm you down, and get you ready for better sleep. And then there's things we can do like fans and keeping your room cool and keeping the room dark and all those things that help. So all of that is really to talk about sleep hygiene. So I would say a big yes to this one on therapy technique.
Yes, I would say actually good.
Yes.
Rating actually
Mhm.
good.
Yep.
Yes. Um, girl therapy walks.
Explain.
I feel like sometimes we just like take shit we already do and give it a cutesy
Yeah,
name,
little
and then
nickname.
then it
Yeah.
becomes a thing. Is that just like when you go on a
Is
walk
that
with
like a
your
hot girl
friend?
walk?
Yeah, with a Starbucks or a
Nice.
Wawa? Is
Okay.
that what it is? And like you're doing therapy? So I'm gonna call this one Therapish
Mhm.
because it says girl therapy walks. And listen, when you get together with your girlfriends, you're like, oh, this was so therapeutic. This was
Mhm.
great. But don't actually use your friends as a therapist. That's where it could go
Oh, yeah,
sideways.
yeah,
So I don't know if that's exactly what it meant, but I think if you're like, I don't need therapy, I have
yeah.
girlfriends.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that is it's giving
Yeah,
unethical.
so sidebar to that, let's talk about being a friend who is a therapist.
Hmm.
So I think there is a misconception, and I'll clear it up for all of my friends out there. I am not the same person in a friendship
Hmm.
that I am at work. And what I
Hmm.
mean by that is if a friend comes to me and is like, my boyfriend, my husband, blah, 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 I hate him too.
Hmm.
And you tell me when we're supposed to like him again. Like I'm ride and die in that
Hmm.
respect. Um, so I'm not giving you good advice, right? Like,
I'm giving you friend advice. I
yeah,
have skin in this game.
yes. Like if you call me, I have my one friend since we were early married, we had this pact that like we're bury the body friends. Like if she calls me and says, I was with you last night, all night, and when they can't find my husband in the morning, I was with you. And I'm like, girl, I got you.
Hmm.
We were together all night, right?
Yes.
Joking. I'm just joking. But that's like, we would always have that kind of back and forth, right? That's not the advice I would give somebody who's going through any relationship issue, right? I'm not like, yeah, no, I'm your alibi. No, so we're just not the
Let's
same.
find out where he
Right?
works.
Seriously. Or like I would be that person. You think your husband's cheating on you? You think your boyfriend's cheating on me? You're my friend.
Give me
Come
the
get me.
reverse phone lookup. I got
Yes.
you. Brr.
Come get me. We're gonna stalk. Like we're outside of the and I know that's terribly unhealthy and you can all come in the comments about it, but that's what we're
But in
doing.
that role, I'm your friend. I'm
Yes.
not your therapist.
Yes. So I'm not telling you the rational thing you need to hear. And I think that's like a big misconception is like, we would be the ones that's like, now don't get us wrong. Like we're good in a crisis. If like somebody's depressed or somebody's, having an anxiety attack,
We'll walk. We
we've
got
got
you.
you. But like if we're just with our girlfriends, like being stupid and,
Kicking
and
it.
hanging out and just saying silly things, like that's
Hmm.
what we're gonna do. So
Yep.
yeah, if you're looking for us to be like always the the voice of reason.
I do like you can give the little qualifier like, do you want me to answer this as your friend, or do you want me to try to answer this as a semi-professional who is still your friend? Those are two different
Yeah.
responses.
And I know I
Just
really
clarify which one you want.
I stay away from that as much as possible
Same.
because sometimes advice that isn't taken can make a relationship a little bit awkward,
Mhm.
right? So if somebody says to you, "Here's what's going on in my life, and what do you think I should do?" and I really want your advice because this is what you do for a living, and you're
Leave
like, "Okay,
him.
right, right, block him, leave him, pack
Yeah.
your bags." But if we do, that can make it awkward if somebody doesn't do those things, in which
Mhm.
they have every right to do what they think is best for
Yeah.
them. So yeah, we're not the same people
Mm.
in
Yeah,
therapy.
so we're gonna say, girl therapy walks Therapish, I'm gonna call it.
Yeah. Although
Therapish.
I mean, time with your girlfriends can be absolutely therapeutic.
That's why it's Therapish.
Yeah.
It could go either way,
Yeah.
I feel. Crying face in water. That one, I don't understand why it's crying face in water.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say actually good face and water because we've talked
Hmm.
about cold
Yes.
therapy and how that
Absolutely.
can kind of like shock your system back into the present moment
Hmm.
and reset that fight or flight response. So I'm going to say face in water, yes.
Yes.
Crying face, that I don't know. That might be like if you're like,
Yeah.
and what if you breathe in and then you're
Yeah.
drowning? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's giving unethical that part. So I would say a crying face not in water, but I'm a fan of face in
Face in
water.
water is good. Yes. Ice cold water. Colder the
Yes, we're a
water,
fan of
better.
that.
Yes, absolutely.
What else you got,
I got I got AI therapy.
girl? Me and ChatGPT,
We be besties.
we be
We
best
be
friends.
besties.
You know what it said? It like the other day I was saying something to it, and it's like, do you just want to sit here and hold space human to human?
Oh,
But you know what?
she knows you.
Yeah, but you know what's great? It
Mm.
like got me out of whatever I was in because I was like, I had to say, like, I just want to let you know you're not a human, but I appreciate the sentiment.
You just had a hard time with you. You're like, ChatGPT, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah. How many
You're
R's
not
are
who you
there in
think.
strawberry? Like, what? No, we
You're
can't
not who
sit human to
you think
human.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a lot of people who will talk about how they've been using, AI and
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT and such features to talk about anxiety, depression, things
Mm-hmm.
they can do, coping skills. I think that's great
Mm-hmm.
because remember, most of that data comes from really good research
Yeah.
that is out there from prominent people in the field who are doing some amazing work. So all that stuff is really good, and we're reading the same things you're reading in terms of new research, and
Mm-hmm.
we're listening to people speak about new techniques. So all that I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to apply it, and that's where a lot of people get stuck is
Yeah.
the application, or like we've talked about before. I'm just not motivated. I just can't get myself to do it. So that's a lot of times where therapy comes in, and the assistance of having accountability to somebody. But I think it's good. You just got to watch with everything. You just have to watch what you're asking, and the advice that you're taking. And it's like any self-help book too. You have to remember, what works for one
The
person
application.
doesn't necessarily always work for everyone. So just keep that
Yeah.
in mind.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it Therapish
Yep.
because I think it can be great for all the reasons you mentioned. I think it a little murky when we heavily rely on it, especially like, send this person a text message and I want it to have this tone and I want it to say this and I want it to be this clear. And sometimes it is none of those
I can't
things.
believe people, that is shocking to me. I had a conversation with my son the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, a bunch of my friends just like respond to people's text by having
Yes,
ChatGPT write the text."
correct.
I was like, "Oh my God."
That's where I think it can get really murky
Yeah.
when you're trying to have like a clarifying conversation or maybe a tougher conversation
Mhm.
or communicate it. Number one, you probably shouldn't be communicating it by
Mhm.
text. That's like number one. But I think sometimes people don't even reread them to check, is this capturing kind of like what I'm saying? Is
Right.
this clarifying it? Is it making it more confusing? Like
Uh-huh.
that kind of thing. So that's where I think it can go a little, it's giving unethical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if I was like dating somebody and then they broke up with me via
Girl, the
ChatGPT
amount of
text.
times that happens, do you want me to just very, probably more often than not?
I'm sure. And
Mhm.
like, if I figured it out, how horrified I would be. Like, you
Who did
did
you
it,
break up with, ChatGPT or
right?
you?
You did it. You couldn't even come up with a "it's not you, it's me" on your own. Like, you had to have ChatGPT write that for you. Yeah.
I will say the other day I was writing something because I'll use it sometimes to like grammar check or
Mhm.
kind of like structure check. I do a lot of like book reviews, and I wrote this one and it was like, no improvements detected. I was like,
Oh,
I just broke the internet. That's how I took that.
she loves me. She thinks I'm A plus.
A plus plus. Okay. Scream into a jar.
I don't get that one.
I don't really either, and I probably should have looked more into it, but I'm wondering, like,
I mean,
Do you
we
scream
scream like
into
the
it?
scream into a pillow thing. I guess
But
I
does the jar have a
understand.
lid?
As I was thinking, I was like, do you like slap that lid on and like
And then I
reserve it
release
for
it some more?
later?
Or like, do I scream into a jar, put the lid on it, and then I'm pissed off at you and I'm like, don't make me get the jar. And I'm passive aggressively screaming at
Right?
you.
I,
And you're like, why are you pointing an empty jar at my
yeah,
face? Like,
I don't get
it
it.
smells like Prego pasta sauce. Like, what are you
Do
doing
you have
right now?
garlic in this thing?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
What is this?
Yeah, I don't get that one. I
Scream into a
mean,
jar. But even scream into a pillow or rage rooms, that
mhm,
I can say like that kind of veers toward it's giving unethical because
it
sometimes
is.
that like cements the neural network
It
of
does. So,
like rage and anger.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Just for
got to
people to
be
understand
real
that they've done
careful with that.
research on whether or not,
Correct.
being involved in those particular situations where you get to actually physically use your anger, whether that actually decreases people's potential for anger or it stops the repetitive kind of behaviors of anger and it's not
Yeah,
favorable.
it didn't reduce it. If anything,
Mhm.
it either stayed the same or
Or
increased.
increases
So
it,
I
right?
would not say that that's like a super
Yeah.
productive
No.
way to channel that. So I'm going to say it's giving unethical for
Yeah.
screaming to a jar.
I don't really get it. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
We're also going to just be question mark with that. We just don't really understand it too
If you do,
much.
please let us
So
know.
yeah, follow up with us on that
Hmm.
one. Um, glow up routines, which is
Is that skincare routine?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, yes. Look how you light up. You're like yes.
I light up because I aspire to have that like
Oh,
a
me too.
consistent thing. And I have all the items,
Okay.
all like the serums and the this and the this.
Hmm.
But at the end of the night, I have this like, it's like this rebellious, like, I don't feel like it.
No,
I'm not going to.
I bought
Who
that.
am I harming?
I bought that like the roller that's like ice
Oh
and like
yeah.
okay, but
Or
explain
the
to
like
me.
the jade thing.
That I have. I
Right?
don't use it. You're right. I
Yeah.
buy the things. I bought the ice roller thing, but it's in the freezer downstairs.
It's too far.
How am I gonna do
Well,
that?
Nina, it's because you don't have the skincare mini fridge
I do
in your
not.
bathroom.
I do not
Well,
have
that's where you
a
went wrong.
skincare mini fridge.
If you did, you could do it
I
and then
guess
use the
so.
cold. I still wouldn't. I
I
just, I
know.
think sometimes it's rebellious. I just am like, I don't feel like it. I'm
Yeah,
not going to.
but maybe we can get into the morning routine, right? So maybe you
Yeah,
can have
yeah, that
some of
one
the
I'm into.
skincare process like going on in the morning. But I love the idea.
I do
It's
too.
a
I'm
healthy
gonna
routine.
say actually good reading.
Yes, taking time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
putting time and energy into making yourself feel better,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with how you feel in your own body. So I'm going to say any type of glow up, I'm all about it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an A
I'm
plus
gonna
for me.
say actually good on that.
Yeah.
So here's one. Maybe you have a sense of what it is. Dopamine menu.
Menu.
That's what I mean. I think people just put like aesthetic words on shit and then it's like a thing.
This is just a list of things that can increase
I
dopamine.
think so.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna pick it off like it's a menu.
Okay. I mean,
I'm gonna
hey,
call it I'm gonna give that rating Therapish.
mhm, if you can continuously look at a list of things that can help you increase dopamine production and
That are
you
not destructive and dysfunctional.
right, and you want to utilize those things, yeah, there's nothing
What's
wrong with
on the
that.
menu
Yeah.
today? Kayaking? All right. Yeah. But also, yeah, don't have stuff on there that's not like readily accessible or have a variety of things, right?
Like, fly to Hawaii is not readily
Yeah.
accessible.
Like sometimes people would come back and they went to these like really fancy like rehabs, right?
Yes,
And they'd be
yeah.
like, I'm like, yo, are you gonna put horseback riding on it? Do you own a horse? Riding a bike. Do you have a
Do you
bike?
have a bike?
Is the
Right.
tire flat? Like,
Yep. Can we use this tool?
so I think dopamine menu.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna call it Therapish because I can see where it's going, and I think
Yeah.
it's mostly, I'm mostly good. The menu,
Yeah.
yeah, that part. Maybe that's just a cutesy term.
I'm sure it is.
It's an aesthetic.
It is. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. Lucky girl syndrome. This I can get behind.
Oh, so you're rating it actually good.
I am actually rating it good because the
Okay.
idea behind this, at least how I understand it to be, is that it is a reframing process. So it's a cognitive reframe that says walk around as if you are lucky. You're lucky to have experiences. You're basically a blessed person, right? Like
Hmm.
I'm blessed to be living today. I'm lucky to enjoy the sunshine today. If it's raining, I'm lucky to experience the rain. And if you walk around in a mindset that you are lucky and that things aren't just poor that are happening to you or bad that are happening to you or negative that are happening to you, that you will start to see more of the positive than the negative. So I'm all
That's like
about that.
gratitude,
Yes, I'm
right?
all
It's
about it.
like a gratitude orientation,
Yeah.
right? So instead of I have to do the laundry, I'm grateful I have clothes to wear. Instead of I have to do dishes,
Yes.
I'm grateful I have food to eat.
Yes. Yeah. And we talked before, so tune into that podcast about how you can learn how to reframe some of your cognitions. But that's, I think, more of along the lines of what this is just how to see things in a different perspective that will keep you in a more positive mindset. So,
Gratitude
absolutely.
girl, gratitude girl. I'm
Mhm.
gonna rate that actually good
Yes.
as
Uh-huh.
well. How about this one? Trauma dump in the car. Is it like to yourself,
I don't
or are you
know.
calling someone?
Ah, it's a good question. Because when you said that to me earlier, I pictured like because my car can be very therapeutic to me. If I'm in it by myself, I'm blasting whatever
Don't come
music.
in here. This is my
Yes.
cocoon.
Like I'm blasting whatever music I love and I'm kind of working through my day. And like that's for me a very safe space. I don't know if it's trauma dumping in that respect. Like when you go through your day and you're like, this happened, but you're working through it. I don't know.
But it just makes me think, like, trauma dumping, is that where, like, everybody has, like, a friend, you open their car door and, like, shit's all falling out, and you're like it's
Yes.
like the detritus of, like, their various emotional states during
Yeah.
the week,
Hmm.
like, "Oh, McDonald's, oh, I was really
Uh-huh.
struggling at the beginning of the
Yeah.
week," right? Or like, "Oh, the gym bag didn't make it there, but
Hmm.
it's in there."
Yep.
Okay,
It's in
see
there.
see where you tried to turn it around. So, I'm not really sure trauma dumping in the car.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna rate that it's giving unethical, especially with
Yeah.
trauma. I would say because it has the word trauma
Trauma.
in it,
Yeah.
that
And in the car, like
yeah,
I get the emotional dumping, the thought dumping, cognitive dumping, like all
yeah,
those things I'm
not
fine.
trauma
But
dumping.
like the trauma dumping, and then you're in the car, like yeah,
That
yeah,
seems
just
unsafe.
yeah,
Yeah, it
like
seems it's
yeah,
giving unsafe.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not feeling that one at all, really.
Okay. Yeah, it's giving
Uh,
unethical.
um, I have cozy maxing, which again, a new
Oh, this word
creative
maxing.
term. I know. Creative term, but we can get behind this. We both love it. We've decided to change the podcast a little bit so that we are more cozy maxing, which means that you're just creating a more comfortable environment for yourself. So you're allowing yourself to put on those comfy clothes, you're putting on the music you like, you're lighting a candle, you're doing all the things that make you feel more relaxed,
Hmm.
which will hopefully then have your mood kind of match it. So we can get behind that.
Yeah, we got a real nice carpet. Maybe we'll take a picture and
It
post it
is
somewhere.
very nice.
I'm calling it the Big Bird carpet, but I have no shoes on, and let me just tell you,
Mhm.
it feels
It looks
nice.
pretty.
It feels
It
nice.
does.
Um, okay, here's one. Somatic shaking.
Huh.
Mhm.
To an anxious person, you say the word shaking. We immediately say no thank you because we do enough of it on our own. So I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna call this one actually good. So I
Okay.
think somatic really means basically how things show up in your body in a
Um,
physical way. And I do think that gets overlooked a lot. I think there is a lot more focus on it now in therapy.
mhm.
Of like when I'm having the feeling of anger, like where is that showing up in your body,
Mhm.
right? Or if you're someone that has like, I have chronic pain in my right shoulder, and some of that, a lot of that has to do with my emotional state and not knowing
Okay.
how my body holds tension. And
Mhm.
that's why there's, the book, The Body Keeps Score. And that is all coming from a place of a somatic orientation. So, how does it physically show up for you? So, I think like discharging things physically, like completing the stress response sometimes, like if we get anxious and we think there's someone at the door, your body's kind of in the, "Ugh," and then
Mhm.
everything was fine. Well, the stress response never got an
Mhm.
opportunity to complete the cycle.
Okay.
So sometimes doing like a shake out
Mhm.
allows the body to complete the stress cycle.
Okay.
So for that, I'm going to give it an actually good. I'm
Okay.
going to give it an actually good for that.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we can do a behavioral technique to release stress is always a positive, right? And so that's why a lot of times the CBT works out so well is because we're
Mhm.
addressing the cognitive and that behavioral piece. But you're absolutely right. If you have a sense of an emotion or feeling or thoughts like I'm anxious, I'm anxious, I'm anxious, and you can put a physical piece to that,
Mhm.
it usually does help to complete a cycle and let us move on. So that's a huge piece.
Mhm. Yeah.
I saw this thing, I forget where I watched it. It was some clip somewhere, but there was this woman, somebody made a clip about this to try to talk about like an emotional state. And it resonated so much with us, with me particularly. It had a woman who walked in and the clip was like, this is how it sounds in my brain when I walk into my kitchen and it's messy. And like it shows her kitchen very messy and you just hear noise, like a million people talking.
Mhm.
And then the next frame goes to this is what it feels like in my head and in my
Yep.
body when my kitchen is clean and it was birds chirping and just
Yeah.
silence. And like all of that overstimulus and that feeling like I have so much inside of me, but like you can't see it. You don't know what this messy house is doing to me is so important. And then they do the behavioral thing and all of that just seems to be released. And so, yeah, I think that's huge.
I think that's why, running, is such a big part of my, like, coping toolbox
Mhm,
because I think that one is also, uh, somatic, right?
mhm,
So you can kind of discharge a lot of energy, but also just, like, the forward movement of that,
mhm,
there's something very psychologically tied to kind of carrying through or working through or introducing some kind of movement
yeah,
to this, like, perpetual feeling of, like, stuck, trapped,
mhm.
freeze, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know how much you do it, but I mean, I recommend movement as a tool so much.
Yes.
So much. And there's a lot of resistance to it
Mhm,
because people will often feel in the moment, this is not going to help me.
mhm,
Like, I am anxious as hell. I am feeling awful. I'm feeling like I might vomit. And you're telling me I should just go outside and walk around outside for a couple minutes, walk to my mailbox, go get
mhm,
my mail, come back. And I can understand how that sounds in the moment, like it's completely unhelpful. But we just, so much happens to us physiologically when we move. And that's not just the fact that your body is in motion, your brain has to tell all of your limbs what to do. And so your brain then has to reroute
mhm.
what it's thinking about and it has to make it,
Rerouting.
yes, rerouting, and it has to think differently. And so there's like a manipulation that goes on with that, which is why we say that the movement is so important,
Yeah,
is because it's not just that we want you to get into a different location and hopefully you'll forget about feeling anxious or you'll feel less depressed or whatever. It's because we're trying to get the brain to stop focusing on that,
mhm,
and moving your body is one of the quickest ways to do that.
mhm. Yeah. Alright. Any more?
I no, I think we debunked a
That's all
lot of
that's
these
that's all we
particular
got.
trends.
Yes, real advice, or nonsense, and we've said this before, but just be mindful about where you are getting your
Mhm.
advice, the source of which it is coming from. Please take it with a grain of salt. Um, I love when people are like, I saw this on TikTok, and sometimes
Yes.
I'm like, oh boy. But I actually love that they're coming in to fact check it. They're
That's
like,
and
yo,
I
I
think
heard
that's
about
the
this.
point.
Like, what do you think about
Yeah.
this? Is this a crazy thing?
Yep.
So hopefully we clarified some of those
Mhm.
for you today.
And give us some more if you have them.
Yes. All right, nearly normies. Until next time, stay nearly normal.